If you've been applying for jobs and all you're getting is radio silence, you're not getting interviews, it's not a personal attack on you, it's your resume. Recruiters would not reject you, but they would reject your resume. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing 10 ways that you can actually turn that radio silence into interview invitations. And who better to take this advice from than someone who's been on the other side of the hiring table, me. If it's your first time here, hi, my name is Nicole Nyasha. I'm an ex-recruiter certified in Canada and the US, and I share career and personal development content. I'm sharing these tips in no particular order. They're all important, so don't take one and disregard the other. I like to call them the 10 commandments of resume writing. You need to ensure that your resume is customized for the specific job that you're applying to. A generic resume, especially in this current job searching climate, is not going to add any value or have any impact to help you get a job. So before you upload your resume and hit apply, carefully review the job description and identify the skills and experiences that the organization is looking for, and then highlight these throughout your resume. One of my favorite ways to do this is to use a word-based cloud. Just search word cloud online, you'll find something, then copy the job description onto this word cloud. It's going to populate the common themes and keywords, and then you want to sprinkle these all over your resume. You don't need to fabricate your experience or lie, but rather emphasize the most relevant parts of your background. A tailored resume takes more effort, but it does show recruiters that you're not just interested in any job, but this specific job that you're applying for, and it gives you a better chance to stand out. When it comes to resume formatting, keep things simple. A recruiter spends an average of only 6 to 7 seconds in an initial resume scan. That means your resume needs to be clean, it needs to be organized, and it needs to be easy to read at a fast pace. Try and stick to only 1 or 2 fonts, use bullet points to break up the text, and make sure your contact information is easy to find, preferably at the top of your resume. Unless you work in the creative space, avoid using images, graphics, unconventional fonts, or anything that would distract the reader. Let me try and put this into context for you. At any given time, a recruiter has a couple of job requisitions assigned to them. At some point, I was a high-volume recruiter, and I had 40 to 60 jobs that I had to work for at any given time. And so imagine a recruiter has, let me not even use 40 to 60, imagine a recruiter has 20 jobs, and they have to go through hundreds, and in some companies, even thousands of applicants. They don't have the time to try and understand or make sense of your resume. If your resume is difficult to understand, they can't get the information they need, they're going to keep clicking through their system, and unfortunately, you're going to get rejected. Start each bullet point with a strong action verb to clearly convey your responsibilities and your accomplishments. That's important. There are a lot of generative AI tools that you can use to generate action verbs for your resume, depending on your seniority, the type of work you do. So instead of using passive phrases like was responsible for, which make your role seem less active, use words like implemented, achieved. These words carry weight and they can help you paint a picture of your contributions in a positive manner. This is the meat and potatoes of your resume. Prioritize the most relevant experience to the job that you're applying for. If you've had a long career and some jobs are no longer related to your current pursuit, just provide a brief summary and then focus more on the jobs that are relevant to the experience that is aligned to the job requirements. While it's tempting to include every single detail of your career on your resume, especially if you're like an overachiever, your resume is not the spot for that. Ideally, your resume should be between 1 to 3 pages, depending on your experience. And I've reviewed a lot of resumes. Trust me, the only way you can actually keep your resume that short is ensuring that every single piece of information that you're sharing is adding value. If you want to provide more context and, over elaborate on certain things, you can do that on your LinkedIn profile where you're not necessarily restricted in terms of space. We need to have a conversation about this. Soft skills like team player, communication, hardworking, They do not belong on your resume. They're not doing anything for you if you just list them in point form without using them in a value-adding sentence. It's actually wasting space that you could be using to appear a more attractive candidate. When I was a recruiter, like many of my colleagues, when reviewing resumes, I'd put candidates into 3 piles, not physically, but mentally. Pile 1 is, OMG, I need to drop everything I'm doing right now and connect to this candidate now. Pile 2 is, I like this profile, but I think I can find better, so I'm gonna keep this one pending in case I find something else. And the last pile is, why the heck did this person apply for the job? Automatic reject. You obviously always want to be in the first pile, and part of how you can do this is by using great technical skills on your resume. Going back to the point I spoke about where you have to review job descriptions, check the technical skills that are actually related to the job. What are they looking for? What systems does that organization use? And use those on your resume. Don't get me wrong, jargon and acronyms are great if they are widely accepted in your industry. But avoid using jargon and acronyms that might not be understood by someone outside of your organization. Keep in mind that you're applying to a different company. When writing your resume, you should always assume that the recruiter that's reading your resume might not understand the technical components of the job. A hiring manager might, but your resume goes through the recruiter first before the hiring manager. Spelling and grammar mistakes on a resume are a big red flag. Not just to recruiters, but even more so to hiring managers. Depending on the type of role that you're applying for, you could be the perfect fit or the perfect candidate for a job, but just one typo can cost you an interview. It just gives the impression that you lack attention to detail and you're careless in your work. If you can't ensure that there are no mistakes or errors on your resume, are you going to care when it comes to the actual job you're applying for? So before you send it out, proofread it multiple times, even if you use software to generate it. Ask a friend or even a family member to take a look. Fresh eyes can always catch errors that you might have missed. Many companies use applicant tracking systems to scan resumes before they reach the recruiter. To reduce the chances of your resume being automatically rejected by the system, always avoid using things like tables, graphics, unusual fonts. Just keep your resume as simple as it can be. And I always joke around saying, if your resume looks boring, you're on the right path. If something is not broken, don't fix it. So use the commonly used headings like skills, experience, education, and don't try and do your own thing to be fancy. It doesn't work for resumes. And those are the 10 commandments of resume writing. Like I mentioned, don't take some and leave the other. They're all important. If you enjoyed this video, you'll certainly enjoy watching this one. I wish you God's blessings in your job searching journey. See you in the next video.